Hey, it's RJ, story of my life, and I'm back here. I'm not driving. Natalie's driving today. Um, but we are out continuing our adventure of moving to Montenegro. And so the latest development we have is that we have found a place that we're going to rent. And this
A
is,
long-term place.
yes, yeah. So this is a place where we're going to be signing a year-long lease on it, which is going to be fun. Um, and yeah, so I mainly want to try and find out more of like what your feelings about it because talking before, I know Natalie, she was rather nervous. Is would be a fair way to describe your feelings about signing the long-term lease with after you've seen the place.
Yes, I was kind of anxious, and so this is the work of my labor. I found this place, or I was offered this place, and it's outside of our budget.
Well, I wouldn't
It's
say
more
it's
expensive. It's
not
more
outside our
expensive
budget.
than what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
But
and it's still less than what we're paying now. Also,
yes,
that too.
yes. But with that said, I was hoping for like a third less than what we are going to be paying. But it seems like with everything I see right now, it's just such a high season, and with refugees flooding in, budget-friendly, good options just flying off within hours. So this option is, I think it kind of came about more because I'm communicating with a leasing agent, and she seems to take deep emotional involvement. What are you doing, person? God, sorry. That was polite. Anyway, so yeah, it's more expensive than I was hoping for, and I think it is way better than what I was dreading for. Let's say it that way. I
Yeah.
keep looking at
Well,
the pictures, and I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. I think so. Basically, there's like any place that you're going to rent. There's always the balance between price, location, and then quality of the actual unit itself. And it's kind of like this trifecta, where I mean you can find a very nice high quality place for a good price in a bad area. You can find a something that's a good price and in a good area, but not a very not a very nice place to live. The actual unit itself, or you can go and pay more, and since this whole the three-legged stool, so to speak.
Nice place and a nice
And
apartment
I
that
think
you have to pay.
I think overall, like the location, this is a big challenge that we have. Is that I have visited Montenegro, but I have not visited a town we'll be living in. And one of the big reasons why we're choosing the town we live in, I mentioned this in the previous video, is because the prices there are lower for real estate, particularly renting and even buying stuff is cheaper there. And so it makes it very appealing to us. And the other thing is that um, it also seems to have a slightly better climate since it's a bit further south of the down. I mean, if you're going down the coast, it's a bit further south along the coast, so it seems like it's going to be a bit warmer, have less rain, and all these nicer features that we like. But ultimately, I haven't been there, and so we have to do a lot of based off of just research and looking at things. And this is we have rented a property site unseen before. When we moved from South Dakota and we lived in Colorado, we didn't see the place we were renting, and we signed a lease without ever stepping foot in it. And in that situation, it actually worked out really well for us.
It worked out great.
Yeah, we really liked that apartment, and we were really happy with it. And so hopefully it's going to be a very similar thing this time around. But when you're going from across the world, it's definitely nerve-wracking for sure. It is stressful.
It's a whole different level of expectations and different ways things are handled, and
Yeah.
Like even the stairs.
Yeah.
Like
The floor.
Yes, I had to double check on the floor. Yes, we're gonna be living on the second floor.
So this may
which
be
is like third floor.
So if you're watching this and you are in the United States, this may be something you're not aware of. In some countries, the way that they count floors is they'll count the ground floor, and the next floor above that is the first floor. And so when I visited Serbia, I rented an Airbnb, and I was told that the Airbnb, I'm pretty sure they said it was on the third floor. So went up to the third floor, knocked on the door, and nobody was there, and basically what happened was that no, it was on what I would consider to be the fourth floor, but they again don't count the ground floor, and so for them they would count it as a third floor. And so this is a bit of a challenge, because when you see that an apartment is listed on a particular floor, it's hard to know what it is. And if it's listed by a local Montenegrin, it's almost certainly going to be a case where they do the ground floor and then they count up from there. But if I'm renting it from someone who is from Russia or from the United States, they may count it differently. And so there's just a lot of ambiguity about what floor the apartment is even on. And the place we're renting, it doesn't have an elevator. So there's a big difference between the third floor and the fourth floor. It's something that we definitely want to know. But I think also, we can talk about prices too, just to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at. So, one of the big reasons why we, again, wanted to move to Montenegro is because there's also lower cost of living there. Now, South Dakota, as far as the United States is concerned, does not have very high cost of living. I remember when we met, we were in New York City, and we were at a conference, and there's people from all over the country, and we were talking about prices, and I was complaining about how much I was paying for rent, and everyone was like, dude, that is really cheap compared to what we have to pay, so stop complaining.
When we were walking through Manhattan, there was a 2-bedroom apartment for $5,600.
Yeah, $5,600 for a 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah.
Yes.
That's Manhattan. Manhattan's definitely very high. Ultimately though, South Dakota is known to be a good affordable place, and we have a lot of people moving from the East Coast and the West Coast and from around the country to here to get some more affordable housing. But here's what's even crazy is still renting here to get something that, if you're buying something at market value, to get something that's going to be a 3-bedroom apartment, you're probably looking at about $1,200. And again, that's not for a house or a yard. That's going to be an apartment. And if you want in a particularly good area, or if you're looking for a house, you're going to be looking at starting around $1,500 to $1,600, and going up above that. And again, I know that's not particularly expensive. I've heard what people are paying for prices in a lot of other places, so I'm not really complaining. But
this is what buys you a studio in Denver.
Yeah. So we used to live in Denver, and that was, the prices there were much higher. And I remember even, we lived in Colorado Springs for a short period of time, and we were renting basically a cheapest place that had, was it 2 bedrooms?
Yes, it was 2 bedrooms. We paid $750, but it was a horrible place.
Yeah, it was the cheapest place there. It was the only place that had 2 bedrooms and laundry in the unit. That's one of some requirements.
And we brought our own laundry thingy.
Yeah, they had the hookups. We had to do our own units, and yeah, we paid $750 there, and it was a terrible place. It didn't have air conditioner. There's no. It was on the second floor, and right below the roof, and there's no insulation in the roof, so it got really, really, really hot in the summer.
The outside, the wooden wobbly outside staircase going up to the front door.
And not to mention that, basically there's people just growing marijuana all over the place, and
growing marijuana, what is it? It's like whatever you grow. You can grow whatever you wish. You can grow onions on the window. I don't care about that. It's more of a
Well, if I
when
smoking.
people who were,
Yeah.
and I do not mind smoking. I'm more concerned about people who are drinking and throwing
Well,
bottles at each other, which was happening too.
Yeah, and having
Parking
these
us, locking us in,
domestic
and
abuse situations.
Yes,
And
kind of more like I'm more concerned about alcohol than
what more
pot.
bothered me about the pot was that they would be smoking right out front, well, right below our bedroom window, and so
Yeah.
the smoke would come up into our unit, and didn't like that. That was more what I was trying to point out. Anyway, the bottom line, it was a really bad spot, so just trying to get a comparison here. But what we'll be paying in Montenegro for our property is 650 euros. And let me just do a quick conversion.
Deal.
So that's going to be about $715 US dollars. So that's the cheap. I think that's the cheapest place we've lived in.
Yeah. Well,
No, I
not
guess
matter
the very
the landlord I used to live with.
well, yeah, not including that, and not
tuck in.
including
Tuck in.
the very first apartment that we lived in here in Sioux Falls, which is like just a one bedroom place, really small place. And again, not great location or anything. That was a bit cheaper. I think that one we were paying around $615 or something like that. So about $100 less for that place. But yeah, 715 euros, or sorry, $650, 750. Wow, let's try it again. 650 euros or $715, and it's a very nice, I would say, semi-luxury. Since there's no elevator, I wouldn't say all the way luxury, but semi-luxury apartment that's in a fantastic location, right in the center of town. Really close walking distance to the ocean. And it's also fully furnished. It's another big thing. So all the apartments that we
Not
rented,
just furnished down to the spoons and
yeah, fully
dishes
furnished.
and.
Yep.
Okay.
So, well, but yeah, her point remains. Like even the things like we don't have to worry about having an iron.
Hair dryer.
Yeah, all these small little things, and whereas again, even trying to find a furnished apartment in Sioux Falls is, or almost anywhere, is almost impossible. I mean, they come up occasionally, but yeah, not very often. So, it is more than we were hoping for. We were hoping something more around the 500 euros, or ideally less. But one of the things that we had to come to agreement on was that if we're renting a place sight unseen and we're coming from across the world, it's better that we go, on the higher end of what our budget would be, and get a place that may be nicer than what we need and in a better location than what we need, than something where it's a really awful place to live and in a really bad location. Because
that's what was happening with us in Colorado Springs.
Are you okay, buddy?
So what happened in Colorado Springs, where we kind of moved there and with the expectation of better things to happen, but that location just drained all the life will
Oh
out of
yeah,
us.
it was a
the daily struggles with neighbors, with inability to go anywhere, just the brokenness, the environmental brokenness,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
atmosphere of brokenness.
Well, and even
poverty.
to a degree, like one of the places that we used to live here in South Dakota, it's not like it was a horrible location. It was just so far away from everything. I mean, I actually looked recently, and we had a Walmart that was a mile away, which is fine. That's nice to have, I guess.
But there was no walkway to it.
But there was no way to walk to it. And the next other thing, we had a Subway sandwich shop that was also about a mile away. Again, no real nice way to walk to it. It was not like it was a bad, dangerous location. Like the place in Colorado Springs was much worse.
It was very lonely.
Yeah. It was just so separated from everything. It was so far away it was so on the outskirts of town. And again, that place was still more money than we were paying, but we will be paying for in Montenegro. So, yeah.
One word, we are very excited.
So what?
We are very excited, and yeah, it's more space, and I think small amenities that we don't think about. So Montenegro does not have a central heating.
Yeah.
No houses have central heating except for the ones that were built within the last 5-7 years. Most of Montenegro does not have central heating, and mold and cold and an ability to keep your place warm is a big struggle for a lot of people. And the big thing about the apartment we are going to be renting was that it's insulated. Yes, it does not have a central heating, but it does have air conditioning that goes winter, summer, and that it's insulated, that you're not going to spend the big buck on just
This is something
making
actually
it nice.
I want to mention also about Montenegro that I don't see. Again, I haven't been all over the United States, but I mean, I've not seen this in other places. It's where you'll have these wall units for air conditioner, and typically what they do is they'll put in small wall units in each bedroom, and the wall units can do both heating and cooling. And that's not really something you see very common in the United States, if at all. I've never really heard of it. It was kind of
That's
surprising.
what we had in Kazakhstan when we did.
And it's may have been more common in Europe and Central Asia, but it's just not something that we really see here. And I actually think it's a really good idea, because one of the problems I always have with central heating and cooling, for that matter, is you have this large space of 1,600 square feet or more, and you just say, all right, we're going to heat and cool the entire space. Whereas having it in the individual rooms actually makes it where you can control how each individual room is heated, and it should be more efficient that way.
It usually goes in the bedrooms too.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. It's just something that's new to me. But so it does have heating, just not central heating. But yeah. So now, anyway, so we finally found this place. We're gonna jump in for it, sign on scene, and hope for the best. And of course, when we get there, we'll have a little video tour about the location and talk more about that. But that's a couple months away yet. Right now, we are on a mission.
2 months too long.
Well, it's both 2 months too long and 2 months too short. It's like
I would just leave everything. It's like what, 3 degrees Celsius. It's like 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
would it be more like 36?
Sure,
Fahrenheit?
36. Wow, so hot.
Well, 38. I don't know. 36, 38, 36, somewhere around there. That's where we're at right now, whereas it's much warmer. I don't know. Let's just do this. What is the temperature in Bar Montenegro?
And you know what? I'm just gonna do this.
All right. So right now, you don't know what? Would you like to know what's the temperature?
It's almost midnight too.
I know. So this is
Tell me.
late night, where it's 12 midnight there. It's currently 13 degrees Celsius. So putting that in American, that would be about 60 degrees. So even at night, it's warmer there now than it is here, and that looks so appealing. We had that weather in the day a couple days ago, and it's can't wait for that. But yeah, right now we're on a mission where we're gonna go get a money order, not a money order, do Western Union, put down a deposit, and make this whole thing final. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to go and get some snacks for the kids and some coffee for mom and dad. But this is our quick update about not too quick update, but our update about what's going on for our trip to Montenegro. And stay tuned for future videos and future updates about how this whole thing progresses. Anything you want to add?
No.
Cool.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks.